You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Health Department released the breakdown of their disbursed healthcare worker benefits. According to the DOH, the department disbursed a total of over 14 billion pesos worth of benefits to the healthcare workers. This covers September 15, 2020 to June 30, 2021, divided into two periods. The department added that they have released 517 million pesos worth of checks as COVID-19 sickness and death compensation. Period 1 covers September 15 to December 19 of last year. The department says they have released 6.4 billion pesos as hazard pay and a special risk allowance, and 919 million pesos as meal, accommodation, and transportation allowance for over 790,000 frontline healthcare workers. Meanwhile, for period 2, which covers December 20, 2020 up to June 30, 2021, the department has disbursed 6.9 billion pesos as SRA for some 370,000 healthcare workers, while 39,000 medical workers were covered with life insurance worth 16 million pesos. New quarantine responses, including possible granular lockdowns in Metro Manila, are still up for the approval of President Duterte. This according to the Malacanang. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez recently said that the government's COVID-19 task force approved the implementation of a granular lockdown system starting September 8th. Metro Manila will be the pilot area for this new policy. The IATF has likewise recommended the policy, but the President Duterte may still overrule the suggestions. Two fires were reported earlier today, one in a residential home in Las Piñas, while the other was a government office in Manila. Camille Samonte has the details.
A fire broke out in the two-story house in Camellia 5, Barangay Pulang Lupa 2 in Las Piñas on Sunday morning. Homeowner Roniel Peña said the fire began at a bedroom on the house's ground floor. This eventually spread throughout the house with thick smoke covering it.
Sabi ng asawa ko, silipin ko rin yung kwarto ng anak ko kasi sumasagit-sit. Mga ganon. Pagbukas ko, may usok na, maitim na. Sinubukan kong hagisan ng isang timba, hindi na nakaya.
His mother and wife were able to evacuate the house immediately. However, his 14-year-old son was trapped inside the bedroom on the second floor. Peña said his son could have jumped outside the window but was probably asleep when the fire broke out.
Binalikan ko ng 2 beses, hindi kinaya, saka hindi na siya sumasagot kasi baka nasuffocate na sa usok.
Initial investigation of the Bureau of Fire Protection showed an issue with the electrical wiring and overloading. Investigators said the house was recently renovated and the electrical wiring that were installed were likely substandard.
Sa electrical, malimit po, nagpa-plug tayo ng marami yung octopus wiring po. Tapos kalimitan din, lalo na po ngayon ang ginagamit mga substandard na wire. Yung nagiging cause niya dahil naiinit po yun pag matagal na.
The fire cost more than 300,000 pesos worth of properties. For the meantime, the Peña family will stay at the covered court in their subdivision. Meanwhile, the Office of the National Archives of the Philippines in UN Avenue, Manila also caught fire. The BFP said the fire started past 1 a.m. on the 6th floor of the PPL building. Investigators reported no injuries but estimated the damage at around 800,000 pesos. Fortunately, the National Archives announced on its website that no archival collections were damaged. Authorities, meanwhile, are still investigating the cause of the fire. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Philippine Airlines has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the United States, but that doesn't mean it's going out of business. One News business editor Regina Lay tells us exactly what this means for the airlines.
No, Philippine Airlines isn't going out of business. It's also not being split up or being sold to investors, at least not yet. In fact, what the Chapter 11 filing does is it buys the company time to reorganize its finances so that it can remain open for business while unable to pay its debts. The country's flag carrier has been losing money for a few years now, and the COVID-19 pandemic dealt a really heavy blow. In 2020, the airline reported a net loss of 73 billion pesos. So imagine, not only was it not making any money, it also had to keep paying its bills. For example, for aircraft maintenance and leasing. By declaring itself bankrupt, Philippine Airlines got out of paying hundreds of millions of dollars in debt and was also given new funding to keep running. In the US, a few companies have emerged stronger after their Chapter 11 filing. For example, car companies like General Motors and Chrysler, which were hit hard by the 2008 financial crisis. Philippine Airlines says it will have to let go of about 23 planes and cut some long-haul routes, but it will continue to honor all tickets, travel vouchers, refunds, and Mabuhay Miles benefits. It will also continue repatriation flights for OFWs stranded worldwide. Regina Lay, One News.
Now, here are other stories from around the nation. The Budget Department has released an additional 888.12 million pesos to cover another round of special risk allowances for health workers. The DBM said the amount was sourced from the Miscellaneous Personal Benefits Fund and on-program appropriations of the national budget for this year. As such, the DBM has now issued 1.2 billion pesos in additional funds to pay for the SRA of healthcare workers. The local IATF in Cabugao town in Ilocos Sur has placed 23 barangays under extreme enhanced community quarantine as COVID-19 cases in the town increased at an alarming rate. The 23 barangays are placed under ECQ from September 5 until September 19. Residents are strictly prohibited from leaving their homes except for emergency and medical purposes. Veteran celebrity and fashion photographer Raymond Isaac died on Saturday after being hospitalized for COVID-19. Isaac was rushed to a hospital in San Francisco, California due to COVID-19 last July. In a series of posts by his husband, Jason Vicente, Isaac was transferred to an ICU and was later intubated and sedated. Many celebrities have since mourned the photographer's death. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Vice President Leni Robredo questions President Duterte's budget priorities for the country in 2022 as the DBM/the Health Department's proposed funds and increases allotment for the DILG. The Interior Department urges LGUs to safeguard the municipal waters and local aquatic resources in the West Philippine Sea amid reported encroachments in the area. Top U.S. health officials are keeping a very close eye on a new COVID-19 variant called Mu, but maintain that this is not an immediate threat. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.